Grady Newsource. I'm Mary Lou Masters. The funeral for Elijah Dewitt begins in less than an hour. It will take place in the Jefferson High School arena for his friends, family, and classmates to attend. The 18-year-old was killed in a shooting at a mall in Gwinnett County last.
This is Northeast Georgia's only local source for TV news. From the Grady College of the University of Georgia, this is Grady Newsource.
Good evening and welcome to Grady Newsource. I'm Mary Lou Masters. The funeral for Elijah Dewitt begins in less than an hour. It will take place in the Jefferson High School arena for his friends, family, and classmates to attend. The 18-year-old was killed in a shooting at a mall in Gwinnett County last Wednesday.
It's located just outside of downtown Watkinsville. It used to be an old factory.
Apologize for technical difficulties. Grady Newsource reporter Abby Walton is live at the high school. Hi, Abby.
Yes, that is right. I am standing right outside of Jefferson High School right now, where community members, families, friends, members of Elijah's football team have all gathered here today to remember his life. Now, the funeral is set to start tonight at 6 p.m. However, I have already seen loads and loads of cars pulling in. Now, there was also a vigil for Elijah yesterday at Southside Church in Athens that had a tremendous turnout, and we are expecting the same here tonight at the Jackson School. Back to you, Mary Lou.
Thanks, Abby. Former UGA head football coach Vince Dooley has been released from the hospital. He was admitted this past Saturday for a mild case of COVID. Dooley returned home on Monday and has since released a statement where he thanks the public for their support. He assures fans he will attend the homecoming game on Saturday, and he will also host his book signing that same day. Dooley was an Auburn graduate and offensive coordinator before he was hired as UGA's head coach in 1964. He coached UGA football for 25 years and served as athletic director from 1979 to 2003. During his time, his teams won 6 SEC titles and the 1980 National Championship. This was the last time UGA held a national title until this past year. If you're looking for a place to wind down after a long day or somewhere to have some fun in a laid-back environment, Grady Newsource reporter Donna Traylor has new information on an exciting entertainment space in Oconee County.
Open space, industrial design, and natural lighting. This is Wire Park, a mixed-use redevelopment space located just outside of downtown Watkinsville. It used to be an old factory. Open space, industrial design, and natural lighting. This is Wire Park, a mixed-use redevelopment space located just outside of downtown Watkinsville. It used to be an old factory. When reconstruction finishes, it will ultimately be a commercial, residential, and community space. But this weekend, it could be the most happening place in Oconee County.
This right here is South Main Brewing. It is going to open this Saturday, October 15th, right here in Wire Park. It is the first brewery to open in Oconee County, something that has not gone unnoticed by Oconee residents.
Breweries are really special in that they're one of the best ways to gather community and gather people. And so lots of folks in Oconee County have been driving to Athens to go have a brewery experience, and they're excited to have something to call their own.
But don't just take it from him. Allie Gillum is a lifelong Oconee resident who is excited about the community aspect of the new brewery.
It's a neat thing, it's local guys that are doing it, so that, a whole new aspect. It's not a big company coming in, it's like local people, and so that's always fun. We're looking forward to supporting them.
The three local guys are Nick Farley, Brock Toole, and Dutch Guest, and together they own and operate the brewery. The manager of taproom operations, Danielle Engstrom, explains their ultimate goal.
Our motto is community fueled, so I think we're just really excited to bring the community together and drink good beer and have a good time, watch some games, and bring everybody together.
What an interesting story. Donnae is actually here with us today. Donnae, when are things going to get started this weekend?
Yeah, so actually, Mary Lou, things are going to get kicked off this Saturday around noon, and they will go until about 10 p.m. And people can go out and get to experience the brewery and maybe even check out Wire Park for the first time.
Nice. And so how did this whole thing get started? Were they friends before the brewery, or kind of how did that happen?
So actually, the three friends that I mentioned earlier, they all kind of decided to maybe just try their hand at brewing some beer like 3 years ago after a Rotary meeting. And that ended up turning into what is now the foundation of South Main Brewing because they ended up loving it.
Thanks, Donnae. They've been called the heart of the Bulldog Spirit. Georgia's Redcoat Marching Band is gearing up for the university's annual homecoming parade this Friday. The Redcoats will play multiple classics like the Redcoat Band Chant, Go Georgia Bulldogs, and the Bulldog March Medley. Rehearsals are well underway.
Usually on Fridays we rehearse also 2 hours, and then we have rehearsals Saturdays for the game. And since homecoming is coming up, we've been practicing at this last rehearsal and the rehearsal for that, getting ready to do the whole march that we do. It's always exciting to do a parade because you just get to march down the street, see tons of people, and just play an instrument. When I got to UGA last semester, I got here in spring. I couldn't do Redcoats obviously, so I was really excited to bring that back into my life because it's been years since I've been in marching band.
The parade will begin at 6 p.m. on Friday at the Cine Movie Theater and end on Clayton Street at 7. Today, we are shining a special spotlight on one of Georgia's athletes who shattered records this week. Grady Newsource reporter Harper Blankenship joins us in studio to share more on this dazzling performance from the green. Harper?
That's right, Mary Lou. Georgia women's golfer Jenny Bai smashed individual and team records when she shot a whopping 16 under par to win the Illinois Invitational yesterday. Now, the Super Senior's second win broke UGA's all-time individual tournament record by 4 strokes and even extended the team's best finish at the tourney by 5. The best part about it is she had no idea just how well she was doing.
I had no idea where I stood. My coach followed me for the last about 11, 12 holes, and I've tried asking him. I was like, hey, where am I right now? And he goes, don't worry about it. We'll figure it out all later. And after I was done, he told me, hey, I think you won, but I'm not sure yet. And I found out that I broke the team record individually and with the team actually after we got off the golf course. So yeah, that was a surprise.
Now, Bay credits her success at the Illinois to her coaching staff, especially head coach Josh Brewer. She says she couldn't thank him enough for keeping her calm, focused on closing out the final round. Now, Bay's next challenge, a West Coast trip out to Palo Alto. That's where she'll look to continue her stellar play at the Sanford Intercollegiate on October 21st. Mary Lou?
Thanks, Harper. Get ready for the Classic City Showdown. It's an event where UGA fraternity and sorority members will be fighting for a notable cause. Grady Newsource reporter James Rogers tells us about Fight Night this Friday. Coming up next, Northeast Georgia business women.
If you need to do something to feel okay to drive, you're not okay to drive. Don't drive buzzed.
You're home before sunrise, on top of the house, the kids, and our future. The smell of your cooking is our alarm clock. My Shiro's day is never done. So let's start saving a little more now so we can feel prepared for retirement. A free 3-minute online chat can give us the personalized tips we need so we can live our lives to the fullest. Visit aceyourretirement.org.
Julie was always a voracious reader. She'd carry 2 novels on an airplane because she'd read one on a 3-4 hour ride. And at some point, I began to notice that she would read a page and couldn't remember what she had just read, and she'd have to go back and read it again.
I don't remember much these days after I read, but less does for me, and I love it.
Hey world, I have a quick message. It's about safe driving. All right, let's go. Anytime you're driving, have the seatbelt buckled tight, both hands on the wheel and your phone out of sight. When not in your hand trying to text somebody back, because if you do, your car might get smacked. The moral of the story, just put your phone down. The people on the road will stay safe and sound. Put your phone down, put your phone down. People on the road will stay safe and sound. Yeah.
Women in business came together this morning to connect, learn, and network. Here's Grady Newsource reporter Aria Circa with more on how these women learn to better their lives in this field.
This morning at the Delta Innovation Center, women from across Northeast Georgia gathered together to talk business. The University of Georgia Small Business Development Center has put on the Athens Women's Business Expo for the past 10 years as a way to bring women in business together. The expo was started because there was not a space for women to connect with other women in their field.
You know, I heard a lot of it's the old boys club and that kind of stuff. And even though the women could go to the men's events, there's always sort of that weird boundary.
This year's theme was Let's discussing reassessing your brand, re-engaging with your life, and refocusing your financial future. The ladies spent their day listening to speakers on these topics, completing activities, and of course, networking with the other women. Kay Keller, president and CEO of the United Way of Northeast Georgia, focused her discussion on re-engaging with yourself, your work, and your community.
My talk today is going to allow us to slow down and think about how we engage, how we engage in ourselves to better ourselves, to serve our community and our work.
A wide range of women attended this event, including entrepreneurs, nonprofit directors, and those who are looking to better their business careers. Attendees also got to shop at local small business vendors, all created and owned by women.
This is one of my crowning achievements. I love this event, and every year I'm like, oh, I'm not going to do it again. It's so much work, but I'm always glad when we pull it off because, as you can see, the women love it. They get engaged, they connect, they meet other people. It helps them with their business. It helps them implement tools in their business like the branding that I talked about to kind of help them propel their businesses forward.
For Grady Newsource, this is Aria Circa.
Gum Springs Park is the newest public area to open in Jackson County, and another one is on its way. Grady Newsource reporter Justin Nemitz breaks down its new features.
An interactive playground, 3 Little League baseball fields, 2 outdoor basketball courts, and a large soccer field. This is what you can expect from the newly opened Gum Springs Park, across from Gum Springs Middle School. The land was originally owned by Jackson County Board of Education. They collaborated with Jackson County's Board of Commissioners to create a park. Funded by the county's Special Local Option Sales Tax, or SPLOST, this will give students and residents a safe, well-lit, and diverse area for outdoor activities.
I know they're going to put a dog parking out there as well, so really encompasses, a whole family experience when you go out there.
As one park opens, another is being conceptually approved. Deep in the woods of Jefferson, Georgia, geographer Joel Logan has uncovered Native American burial grounds. With more than 60 effigies found in the area, the commission has laid out a plan to convert these formations into a public park, where visitors can see them from above.
In Northeast Georgia, there's very little Native American history and sites that a person can visit. So our vision for this is, a passive park. We don't really want to do a lot out here. There wouldn't be any ball fields.
The commission still needs to buy back 5 subdivision lots to secure all of the site locations. Here at Grady Newsource, we have chosen to keep the location private out of respect for the artifacts.
You can't visit it right now, but our hope in a few years this will be publicly accessible and a nice public park.
For Grady Newsource, I'm Justin Nimitz.
We're anticipating a sunny homecoming weekend after this gloomy day in Athens. We'll be back after the break with your weather forecasts.
Last week, Brandon met a girl on a dating app. One day after work, he finally found the courage to ask her out. No answer. He started to panic. Was he being too pushy? Maybe it was too...
Hey, sorry I didn't respond. I was driving. I would love to go on a date. How does tonight sound?
Brandon tried to play it cool, but inside he knew. A girl so smart, so responsible. She must be a keeper.
You know, a lot of people say, when you're going somewhere, you don't want to look back. But I beg to differ. For her to see her father celebrate his graduation, it's the best feeling in the world. I can't lie and say it was easy. But sometimes you just have to stop everything and take it in. I looked at everything in a different light. And I realized it started with me going back and getting my high school diploma.
Jordan knows he shouldn't eat this entire bowl of nachos, but tonight he's earned that right. Because a few hours ago, in the middle of happy hour, he recognized a sign. Not from the gods or a bolt of lightning, but from a double heart, a kissy face, and a fourth ha in ha ha ha. That's when Jordan knew he was buzzed. So when it was time to go, he got a ride home instead of driving. Be a legend like Jordan. Recognize your buzzed warning signs and get a ride home. Buzz driving is drunk driving.
There is a road laid out for me. First night here, but Amy seems cool. Leading down to the river. I am blind, but I need not see.
What do you think?
I know this road is there for me. If I'm really free, take me down to the river and walk.
And now, Madison Harwell joins us live in the studio for a weather update. Hi, Madison.
Hey, Mary Lou. When I walked outside my house this morning, I immediately marched right back in to grab my rain jacket. Luckily, I haven't had to use it yet, but I may have to later this evening and actually maybe all week. Just kidding. This is just a technical error on our side. Sorry, folks. We're sticking right around the high 70s this week with lows of about mid-50s. If you're like me and have been looking for a nice pool day, we may be in luck this weekend. Starting on Friday, we'll see clear, sunny skies. So for those of you looking to attend UGA homecoming that night, you can leave your umbrellas at home, despite the graphics. Now, as much as I love the fall season, there are some dangers to be aware of. One of these dangers is actually fallen oak leaves and acorns. They can be super toxic to dogs and livestock. If ingested, your animal could have intestinal blockages and in some cases could even die. We have a lot of oak in Georgia, so if you want to be at ease with the leaves this fall, take preventative measures for you and your pet to stay safe. Speaking of leaves, I'm gonna leave your sports update to Harper. Hey Harper, can you give us a little update on the Braves?
Very, very punny, Madison. You know, we're headed out to the Diamond here first, where the Atlanta Braves are trying to bounce back after dropping Game 1 of the National League Division Series against the Philadelphia Phillies. A ninth-inning comeback effort fell short last night, unfortunately for the Bravos, as they lost by a thin 7-6 margin. Right now in Truist Park, they are currently at a rain delay, but they should be starting up later tonight. Tonight's Game 2 is a virtual must-win for Atlanta. If they drop another one at home, that means they'll have to win 3 straight, including 2 road trips to Philly. Now, taking a trip down Highway 316, it's homecoming week in Athens, and festivities have been going on all week long. UGA students are excited for the Homecoming Carnival taking place at Legion Field tomorrow, and the highly anticipated Homecoming Parade moving through downtown Athens all Friday. This is all, of course, leading up to the Bulldogs face-off with the Vanderbilt Commodores at Sanford Stadium at 3:30 p.m. this Saturday. Keeping it moving and keeping football close to home, some notable Friday Night Lights matchups are headed your way. Clark Central will be taking on Heritage away, as well as Cedar Shoals visiting Madison County. Then Appalachia will travel to Lanier, Jefferson on the way to Flowery Branch, and Athens Academy taking on Fellowship Christian away. That's all for your sports update. Back to you, Mary Lou.
Thanks, Harper. After the break, a Jackson County nonprofit provides clothing for foster children in need.
We scored? Yeah, we scored. We're going to the playoffs. I can't believe I missed that. Every time I'm buzzed, I spend too much time on my phone. What? I should take your phone away. No. I'll call for a ride. Hey, why does my face look like that?
I'm playing with these new face filters.
Okay, you know what? Yep, that's mine.
I'm gonna need that back.
No.
Kevin!
A nonprofit organization in Jackson County works to solve an often overlooked issue in the foster care system. Grady Newsource reporter Nicole Narvell tells us more. I apologize for the technical difficulties.
When I was in foster care, I never knew when I would have to move, so I always had my suitcase ready to go. Then one day, I was adopted. My new parents opened their hearts and home to me. My parents cook my favorite breakfast for me every morning. My parents take me on trips I never thought I would go on. They gave me a home and an even better reason to use that suitcase. My parents aren't perfect, but they're perfect for me.
I think I finally found.
Hey, how you doing?
Hey, Mason.
Hey, Mason.
Got a new house. It's looking pretty cool so far. A place that I call home.
I'm teaching Louise how to cook some lasagna.
It only takes a spark to make a fire start.
Thank you.
Study, please.
I think I finally found a place to make my own. A place that I call home. This place that I call home.
You're home before sunrise. On top of the house, the kids, and our future. The smell of your cooking is our alarm clock. My Shiro's day is never done. So let's start saving a little more now so we can feel prepared for retirement. A free 3-minute online chat can give us the personalized tips we need so we can live our lives to the fullest. Visit aceyourretirement.org.
I'm joined here by Nicole Narvel to learn more about her solutions journalism story. Nicole, just tell us a little bit about it.
So yeah, I did a solutions journalism story on Fostering Hope Clothes Closet, which is a nonprofit organization that supplies clothes to foster children as well as school children in need.
Okay, well, and how did you come across your story?
So I actually came across this organization while I was covering another story for Newsource that aired late September, and it was on the One Jackson event that also took place in Jackson County. And the One Jackson event focused on organizations that helped families in needed situations. So that's where I came across Fostering Hope, and I thought that it was just a really unique and interesting solutions journalism story because they deal with clothes in need for foster children, which is something that not a lot of people know is even an issue.
Right. So what would you say stick out to you most about this story that kind of drew you in to cover it?
So just the fact that they are supplied with so much clothes that I just immediately was drawn to it whenever I went to the One Jackson event. They had this whole setup and they had just piles and piles of clothes that I was immediately like, wow, they clearly get a lot of outreach, which they do. They have a Facebook page, which is Fostering Hope. That's where they do everything from asking the community to donate clothes to talking with people willing to donate because it's by appointment only.
Okay, interesting. Well, I look forward to hearing more about it. Well, anyways, thank you all so much for joining us here tonight. For Grady Newsource, I'm Mary Lou Masters.
During high school, I hung with the wrong crowd and I never graduated.
I helped Santiago in many different ways, like all fathers do, because he always wanted to go to college.
I felt a little embarrassed to come back to school, but eventually, once I came here, I knew that it's for a bigger goal.
He was very dedicated, hardworking. He connected with his teachers. He connected with other students. That was one of the key reasons why he was able to keep forging ahead.
It was amazing to see him graduate. This was one thing that meant so much to him, and of course, it meant so much to us too.
With the help of my father and having my son, that was all the motivation that I needed. That support is everything.
Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org.
I think I finally found.
Hey, how you doing?
Hey, Mason.
Hey, Mason.
Got a new house. It's looking pretty cool so far.
A place that I call home.
I'm teaching Louise how to cook some lasagna.
It only takes a spark to make a fire start.
Thank you.
Study, please.
I think I finally found a place to make my own. A place that I call home. This place that I call home.
So just so you guys will know what happened, that's when we finally got everything together, and so we, instead of down, so anything that was that point, we didn't get a chance to. we can get or so literally the folder do not use and a do not use it, because that's the thing that to look at and sort through. And was this for me? No. There's technical issues. Y'all heard me. Tell them to fix it.
So we had to scramble a little bit and innovate and go with the flow, with the news of the day, which I think, I don't know about you, but in my career, when something went wrong, things usually got better. We were responding to the news of the day. We had a lot of feature stories that fell through, but then it forced us to do Q&A. Is this working? Yeah. Okay. And so you watched the show. It wasn't perfect because we're so grateful to have volunteers, students who just come and they don't get credit for a class or anything, and they actually broadcast with the help of our engineer Tom our shows. And this was a very Michael, our TV producer, and our whole leadership team here. Sarah is our EP. Riley is our assignment editor. And all of them had, Win is our digital editor. So all of them had to improvise and come up with different treatments and Q&A and how to not just do something for the sake of doing something. And so this works. And so, Michael, do you just want to say a few words before we hand it over to you?
Okay. Well, first of all, this was the mindset going into today. So nothing about this changed. I don't like producing. I don't want to be a producer. But in the end, it was still fun. Fortunately or unfortunately, I have to do it again in a few weeks. But we'll be better. It's just getting stuff in on time, being like relaying information. I think we did a good job on that. We just had late packages come in and the crash on rundown. So obviously we'll go from this next week and we'll be okay. And without further ado, I guess we'll give it to you.
Yes, we will. Yeah, and Michael, you do not like to produce, but if you want to be a producer, you really impressed me today. And Riley, who wrestled up so much content and made so many calls, and Sarah was interviewing with some of you, and she also managed, to EP somehow. But without further ado, yes, I'm speaking too much here.
I'll start just to say that. We've got to make lemonade out of those lemons. So it happens, get used to it, and that's what this business is all about, resilience. And the good thing is that you can have a rough day today, and tomorrow you could get up and it could all be brilliant. And then tomorrow it could all be brilliant, but then your editor will say, well, what are you going to do for me tomorrow? And that's just the way it works. But when I appreciated, he got cut, and you handled that very well. You were direct, and when you just said okay and sat down. So I like that. Justin, I thought that your package was really, really well done. I thought I've seen some improvement in y'all's shooting since last time I was here. So I don't know if there's, it's been some work on that, but that was noticeable. Just make sure you're always, always, always using that tripod. I thought the framing in a lot of your interviews was very well done. Just know that always the way you shoot really elevates the quality of your work. It makes it seem more professional. You can put together a great story with great writing and great facts, but if it looks bad on a visual medium, you're not going to get across your message in a professional way. So I appreciate the care that a lot of y'all took with that. And Donna, I thought that you did a particularly nice job shooting too. Be careful about zooms and pans though. You want the action to happen in front of the camera. You don't want to create the action with your camera. So just one thing to watch. But I come up here a lot, so you guys have probably heard from me. So I thought you did a very nice job of handling everything with grace, and keeping a smile on your face and not getting flustered and just saying, we'll be right back. So, and that's what a good anchor has to do, is just control the situation and sometimes roll with it. So, all right, I'm gonna give it to you guys, so you guys you can do the dirty work.
First of all, it's so nice to meet you all. I know I interviewed some of you today. Thanks for having us. My name is Stephen Adams. I'm a recruiter with Tegna. Before that, I was a producer, reporter, fill-in anchor. Just like Laura probably did most of the jobs in the newsroom. So it was such a privilege to see what you guys did today, and especially, as Laura mentioned, just kind of rolling with the punches. One of the things that comes to mind, is in the booth, how we can support Mary Lou, right? Because I agree that I think you rolled with a lot of it really, really well. But especially like kind of after Nicole's package didn't run, right? Like, what can we do to find something else to put up or give her a script to go to in that situation? Because we're all working as a team, right? So I don't want her like out there stranded when you get into a situation like that. I had a question on the package deadlines. When do they have to get in by? 4:30. Okay. Is there an argument, especially at the student level, for moving that up? Or is there some sort of thing we can do where we kind of make a call at 4:30 if it's not in terms of how to proceed? Just stuff to think about from a process perspective, so you guys don't end up, 15 minutes into the show kind of like, oh, we don't have a package, you know what I mean? I think 4:30 is probably a reasonable time, but maybe that's where we start making some of the cuts, and it's like, hey, if it's not there,
hard deadline.
It's out then.
I'm
right?
taking notes,
hard deadline
Stephen.
There. Abby, I don't know if you're watching on the stream out in the field, but you're super conversational. Continue to grow that confidence, because I thought you killed it out with your live shot. I really did. I was talking with some people earlier, like if you're a reporter who reports live in the field, not trying to memorize every single line, right? Memorize the talking points. Was it us that were talking about that today? I forget who I was talking with. But it's easier to talk your way out of something if you're just thinking in bullet points and not in trying to have a specific script line. I thought Abby did a good job with that. Danae, I was so impressed with you, like truly, truly, truly impressed. I thought you wrote well to video. I know that's something that's been talked about, like in this school in particular, came up in some of the interviews today. I thought your on-air tag was incredibly conversational, and I think you really, really have some stuff to be proud of there. Harper, I felt like you came really into your own when we got to sports in particular. I know that's kind of where like the passion's at. And I think you did a really strong job with both, but I just felt like you were in your element when we got to sports. Aria, right? Shot really, really well. What was that shot on, your phone? That looked nice. My only gripe would be like more close-ups. Mix and match. Let's go wide shot, medium close-up. But like really, and I know something in Laura's newsroom, as she just mentioned a second ago, she's really trying to work on and looking for people that shoot really well. You shoot very, very nicely. One thing we could have done in that piece in particular is kind of find a character. I think we're talking to the woman sort of like the PR lady for the organization. If there's a woman we kind of follow, like you shoot so well, then I think it would have just been like a really, really nice way to get into your piece and kind of continue from there. But it was looking good. Keep shooting. Justin, strong writing, great track voice. We talked about dropping the phoner, but I mean, it was a really, really solid piece. I know Laura said it on the side when we were talking, but just for everyone in the room, the level of transparency there in terms of why we weren't showing the location is the type of ethical discussion that we have in the real world all the time. So I just thought that that was really well representative of your program. Michael, Sarah Riley, great stuff. Really, like, I know how hard these roles are, and we appreciate everything you're doing. And then my only remaining question that I don't know if it'll get answered, I was missing the top of Mary Lou's head for most of that broadcast. I don't know where that went. I don't know if that was just in here on our TV, but
no, it wasn't.
Might be worth looking
Yeah.
into. But you all should be really, really proud. There was some really, really good foundation here.
You look great, darling. You still had a head. Don't worry. Don't worry.
A little tiny bit up here.
Yeah, you were impressive. You were impressive.
It was okay.
Kristen. Well,
Okay, I will start this by saying I struggle with giving positive feedback, so bear with me.
What a nice setup.
And my personality to be very free-flowing with it. But no, seriously, you guys did a wonderful job. Like, this is really difficult. This is not what we were doing in college when I was in college, because we didn't have a setup like this. So I can't imagine knowing what I knew then, being expected to use every day in like a professional way. Overall, notes that I wrote down, like more video and more sound. We did the piece about the band red coat person practicing. I really wanted to hear some music. We did a piece about the something with the sports. I forgot, but like I wanted to see some movement. Even you know, where we use stills, like swapping that out for video if possible. Like whenever we can show movement and energy, and like I want to feel like I'm a part, and you want your audience to feel like they're a part of whatever it is that you're showing them. You want to take them along with you, and a wonderful way to take people along with you is through sounds and through movement. So even like with the Vince Dooley piece, I wrote down that I love the timeline. Had we used a picture of him or
Copyrighted, we didn't have a picture that we could use, so.
as a school,
She tried so hard.
I don't know how rights
couldn't
work.
get-
I feel like UGA should be able to let y'all use it because y'all UGA, but
Yeah.
that's neither here nor there. But using something to humanize him, I guess, is what I was getting to.
Absolutely.
Because we showed his accomplishments, but I felt like this is a man getting out of the hospital. So it would have been wonderful to know more about who he was as a person and not just his accomplishments on the field. And that's one of the
Absolutely.
things we're talking about with our inclusive journalism practice. I mean, he's a white man, so like inclusive journalism, he's not the focus, but the takeaway is humanize people whenever possible. Don't just think about them as like their accomplishments, like he's a person in some way. So those are my notes, and
I love it.
wonderful job.
And thank you for making those points. Stephen, to you, thank you for the bullet point thing, because that's what I even have little cheat sheets here that for them, I've been trying to move them away from the prompter, and they've been doing really good.
Yeah.
This is the first time so many people ad-libbed and did not read the prompter, and I'm really proud of them, but it's been really tough to give them the courage to do this, and hearing it from you, a professional, that they will have to do this, and that they'll be better, not just hearing it from their mom kind of thing. You know, when your mom tells you something, you're like, but thank you for making that point. Thank you for making the point about the music, the sound, the visuals, the dynamic video, something needs to be happening instead of starting with a building or a sign. They know anytime they start with a building or a sign, they will hear from me. And so we've been working very hard on that, and I'm glad, Laura, that you're seeing a difference. And thank you for making all these great points, about their work, and encouraging them to do things in the way that they will be expected in the real world. So that's what my goal is, and anything else that you noticed, or any other advice that you have for them when they go into the real world and when they come to interview, that will be wonderful. They should be asking you questions. Oh, Abby, we were talking about you. She just came back. So Stephen, if you want to tell her, you know.
Yeah, no, I was just saying you did a good job with your live shot. In all seriousness, like there's a conversationalness to your approach in the field that I really like. And I was kind of just reminding everyone, when you're like out there not trying to memorize every line, right? Just having some bullet points in your head. Because as soon as a line goes off the rails, you can talk your way out of it if you're on bullet points, as opposed to just trying to have it memorized. I thought you did a really good job. Continue to boost the confidence, because I think like you're on a really solid track. And,
yeah.
And also on the ad-libbing part, I mean, we saw that during weather.
Yeah,
so.
that was fun.
That was an amazing recovery. It was, I mean, so smooth. It was really impressive. Because she heard over the break, she was told everything will be thunderstorms because of the server problem. But don't worry, at least your temperatures are right. And she ran with it. And it looked like she'd planned it. It was so smooth. And also with Mary Lou, that was very smooth. That was not easy for you. I've been in your shoes. so yeah, but thank you for making all these points about their work. And is there anything we need to work on besides the
Taylor
something
Joe is an executive producer, so she might actually be the perfect person.
Yeah, so I kind of echo what all my colleagues have said about resiliency and adapting. You guys did a really great job at that. And you will have to do it in a real newsroom, not that this is a real newsroom, out there in the world. You will have to do that. Pivot all the time. We do it on the daily, on the fly, in a newscast. So that's just good practice. I agree too, like I call it see it, say it video. Like it's just writing the script. So like if you wrote it and that's what I'm seeing. And you guys did, I don't know everyone who did the packages, but I think I saw that across the board. So that was really great. In terms of producing, I think I was looking for more urgency in the writing. The pace felt really slow to me, and so I was kind of like losing it for a second. You can just active writing and then inserting like tonight's, happening now, right now, or even like looking ahead. If you're doing like, tomorrow you're looking at this. I think that would help the writing a lot too. And then helping your anchor transition, think about things that you can take off the top. So if your anchor is tagging a story and then immediately going into the lead, video off top, a graphic off top, because then we're also like visually indicating that we're changing the story and moving on to something else. So think about different ways that you can showcase in that way. But I think those were my biggest notes.
Excellent, excellent.
Because I think Taylor raises a really good point about like urgency on the top, and I think you can create that too by taping some stuff. Don't feel like just because this is a live newscast, there can't be elements of it that aren't pre-produced. I can tell you in Tampa, where I'm based, there are entire portions of the show that are pre-produced that are not going to change based on whatever's happening out in the world. Like, you're open at the top of the show, a few coming up, a few different stories together, like all that stuff. And I don't know if we just couldn't see it in here. I know that we just kind of
The show open did not play. We had a show open, which was pre-produced.
There you go.
And well written. Michael wrote it, and Mary Lou put it all together. But for some reason, it did not.
Sure.
I didn't see it. It didn't play.
It was like the same thing happened yesterday or Monday.
Yeah.
Even
but
your interview segment, though, like that can be pre-prod, right? And then you can kind of spice it up with some different cutaways and whatnot that kind of work around some like the technical things.
To dress it up, and that's great advice. Yeah.
I know y'all are probably itching to get out of here. Does anyone have any random questions?
I want to say one more thing from a.
Yeah.
So I'm going to stand up and see this. I can see everybody's faces. So one of the things that we do at Tegna, and I don't think she's here, but I talked to one of the women that I interviewed with, is we have this very real inclusive journalism initiative where we train all of our employees, not even just content, but all of our employees about DEI, and in the newsrooms we have these DEI audits. And one of the things that we look for in our audits, we have a third party that does it, is are you being reflective of your community in your broadcast? Are the people that we're seeing, the faces that we're seeing, do they reflect the community? I don't know the demographics of this area. However, we, from what I saw, didn't interview one person of color in our entire newscast. I know that's not reflective of this area. And so what we tell our journalists is be mindful of that, because A, you're probably not thinking about it. Be mindful of it in who you're choosing to interview at an event. So if you're at an event that has a variety of people, be intentional about seeking out the people of color to interview them, not to patronize them, but just to know and be intentional about the reality of our industry in that we default white. And so you have to be intentional to not do that. And you know, when you're reviewing your newscast, when you're reviewing your individual packages, look and say, well, shoot, I guess I didn't interview a diverse group of people. And it seems, I don't know how that comes off, but know that from the audience's perspective in our communities across the country, it makes a big difference when you see yourself reflected on TV in local news. And when we fail to tell the stories of the people who make up our community, we are not serving them. So I love that I'm in this newsroom and I'm talking to to people who are getting ready to enter the industry, because I really want y'all to think about that as you go into the world and go into these communities. Yes?
I would say once you're done, I got a question for, I guess, how to properly report like that. Or just to be like more inclusive in the reporting. Yeah, so I cover, so this semester I'm covering the Madison County Board of Elections and Board of Commissioners. And all the commissioners are white, everybody on the Board of Elections is white as well. Madison County is predominantly white community. How would you recommend us who are, we have to create stories that are involved in our beat. How would you go about doing that when the people who we're supposed to be covering aren't, of course, are minorities, aren't people of color? And how would you do that?
Yeah, so we have stations like Boise, Idaho, where their diversity target is 2%, because that's just what it is. And this goes really for anybody covering any county or government thing. Yes, the people in charge are white, and yes, the majority of that area apparently is white. When you're doing stories, be intentional about seeking out people who are outside of that board and outside of the commission who are also a part of the community, and get their perspective, whether that's where it's relevant, not like a random man on the street for the sake of having man on the street, but if you're doing something about, let's say, a proposed whatever, like finding that, because there is a probably rich minority community, even though it's small in that area, finding where that is and who the stakeholders are in that community, and like creating relationships with them so you know who you can talk to when possible. Now, in a city like that, like, you're not gonna have a person of color in everything that you do, but if you're looking over the week of the course of what you're reporting, that you should have people of color in at some point. Yeah, because they are, even though they're a small part of the community, they're a part of the community. So that's a really great question, and it's an issue you're gonna face depending on where you are. Once you get outside of Atlanta, it's different.
Yeah.
Thank you for that question.
Athens is very diverse, but the rest of the counties that we cover are not diverse, so not as diverse. So they will always have to think. We talk about different points of view and having all sides possible of the story, but we need to focus. I think I totally need to. That's my next step, to focus them and look very carefully about the diversity. In addition to having both, or however many sides to the story there are. Great points. What else can we do better? We've got half a semester to go, so we need more things to work on. I've taken already notes, but anything else that you noticed?
One thing I didn't mention, sorry. Because we're a visual medium, one of the first things that I noticed right off the bat, and it could be the producer in me because I'm always like backseat directing, but center your anchor, center the shots, make sure the shots look good. There's some point, I think it was the 2-shot at the end of the talking, the interview, I'm not sure what it was, but lots of headroom. It was like a foot or more or something. And then throughout most of the show, your main anchor also was like not centered in the panels, and then she was like off center as well. And that, to me, that's distracting. Maybe the average viewer doesn't care. But as an EP, I'm looking at that. And your producers should too. They are very much in charge of if, the camera ops have not checked on that and checked the shots and done all that, I am always there. They're like, hey guys, we need to adjust this shot. You need to help your anchors look good. If their hair is flying away, you need to do all of that. You need to help center them, make sure they look good too. So.
All great points, and I am taking notes.
We did interview a person of color. It was a tennis player.
We need to hear you.
I said we did interview a person of color, and it was a tennis player. And so I forgot about that. And the note that I wrote down about the tennis player is that it's okay to take the time to ask your interview subject when you're doing a Zoom interview to frame up their shot well, and like it's your role to direct them. So her shot was like her chin and up, and it was like she was in the bottom right corner. And so, you know, take a breath, take the time to be like, hey, can you get in front of a window? Hey, can you just move your camera down a little bit and like sit up? I just want to make sure that you look good, and they probably will appreciate that. It's just not something that they're thinking of. But that's your role, and it's okay to ask them to do it. And yes.
All great points. Absolutely.
I just wanted to tell you, I'm going to put a QR code on the table. If you guys didn't see us earlier today and you want to come up and scan it, just puts in your information, what you're interested in, if you're graduating in December, spring, 2 years from now. If you fill that out, I promise a recruiter will reach out to you, and we can talk about jobs.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
We haven't heard from you.
Oh, this is, I'll let them, this is their wheelhouse. But overall, good job.
Thank you, thank you. We still have 3 minutes, guys. Any questions?
Got one behind you.
Riley.
Yeah, so I wanted to thank you all for all of your input. First of all, we really appreciate it, and we'll be taking into note for the rest of this semester. But I did want to make a comment on the moving and the moving parts. I completely agree. There should have been a visual of Mr. Dooley. I looked for hours and was emailing people. We were three MMJ short today, and I think that Michael did a great job. Sarah did a great job of filling in. That's where the Dooley information came from. It was just trying to fill time, and as was the red coats, we did agree that we wanted to have video of it and everything. I was in contact with a bunch of different red coats, but a lot of them were in class or gave me videos that were filmed by other people that I couldn't get copyright for, or were their own videos, but then for some reason or another it couldn't be broadcast. So I want you to know that we did try to put effort into that. It just, at the end of the day, there's only so much we can do before that 5, but we take a lot of pride in what we do, and we are glad that y'all enjoyed it as much as y'all did.
I do want to make it, we all think that you guys did a great job in terms of pivoting and adjusting
Can you
to the circumstances.
grab that for the mic?
You did do a great job.
I wanted you to say it twice.
What's that?
No, I'm just joking. We were fishing for compliments, so we wanted to hear it twice.
You did a great job, and I don't want that. Don't let our notes like overshadow. Like, you guys did well, and you're gonna have to do it all again. Sometimes there's bad days, and you just do it again tomorrow. And that's also what's great about news is that you have a bunch of newscasts a day.
There's always tomorrow.
There's
always tomorrow.
So have a bad day, go home, take a bath, show up, and be ready to do it again and do better. So.
Yeah, and I just wanted to give one more special shout out to Riley Roberts over here. I can't even call you an assignment editor because you weren't an assignment editor today. You were like a second producer almost, because the way you dug up stuff, just news content here and there, got scripts approved. You were like a paleontologist. So
Yeah.
really from the bottom of my heart.
I second that from the bottom of my heart. You were impressive. We want to make you cry.
Criticism's better, I promise.
No, you were awesome. I mean, you wrestled up that interview with the musician. You came up with the, and because I asked them to have written permission for any images that are, that are not ours, and so she had to deal with that as well. So.
That's great training.
Yeah. So I set the bar really high for them, and somehow, sorry, and somehow they always jump and they get over that bar. So again, I'm biased because I love them all, but I'm really happy to hear from you and all the compliments and all the things that you're helping us with, the guidance, which we need to hear from you, because I need to prepare them in the best possible way, and everything you said is right on the... I have work to do. We all have work to do. And we are really honored and grateful. You had a very long, tiring day, and you still came here and gave us your time and your wisdom. And please leave, if you are interested in being in touch with Stephen and hearing from him, please don't forget to get in touch with him. And I guess it's 6 o'clock. Guys, any last question? They're also exhausted. We're all, it's been a long day for all of us, but a good day. And I'm really proud of you guys. And I know I put a lot of pressure on them, preparing them for a whole week that you guys will be here and they need to present themselves in the best possible. And they delivered in a wonderful way. And really proud of and love you guys. Thank you for hard work and everything you did. You continue to amaze me every day.